Hi, this is Asilia,
Hi, this is Sabina.
and welcome to our podcast, Once Upon a Software. Today's episode is going to be about comparison and how not to get overwhelmed by it.
We find ourselves in a competition and we get to the point where we feel we are overwhelmed, we are not enough. What can we do there?
It's going to be fun.
Hopefully. I've seen it in my experience in various shapes and forms. When I moved from development to testing and focusing on test automation, of course, I had someone in the team who was very knowledgeable on automation, and the guy seemed to have a solution to any problem. The ones we are seeing and the ones he knew we are about to see. And that was fascinating. I know it wasn't just me, but even if it was, I idolized the person. He seemed amazing in everything he did and everything he was, just because I admired the person in their automation skills. And I wanted to be that person. Now, looking back, I'm not sure, it was a while ago, and I'm not even sure if the person was really that amazing in everything. He might have been. Experience shows me that it's not always 100% the case, and my memory might make that person even more amazing than they were.
With the halo on top of them.
Exactly. But I definitely admired his automation skills. I wanted to be that person.
That sounds like a challenging situation because from what you're telling me, I understand that your focus was a bit shifted from your own journey, from learning to just wanting to be that automation guru, the god. When did you realize that you were on the wrong path?
A couple of experiences later with different people and a lot of struggle. That's when I realized actually that the process I was following wasn't necessarily the right one. And you're right, it was incredibly challenging to be that person, especially because he was a dude about 190 and very fit. And I could never be that person. I'm still 160 and trying hard to seem taller. It was frustrating because I could have never been able to become someone else, regardless of how amazing he was in automation. But the most annoying thing was the fact that I couldn't figure out the guy was that good because he worked on various projects with various different challenges in automation, not only the ones I was facing in the current product. I think I would have saved a lot of time and a lot of energy focusing on my path, on what I was working on and learning and challenging myself on situations I was experiencing in that product, not just on becoming that guy.
Yeah.
I mean, the struggles and me feeling like I would never be good enough.
Exactly. The not good enough feeling.
That drove me in a couple of burnouts. And I don't think, I'm sure it didn't make my process faster, smoother, and I didn't learn better just by putting myself down. Each and every time, I wasn't able to figure out a solution, and I was looking at this impressive person who was actually able to help us solve issues.
Yeah. And in a way, I think he was just like a normal guy who had more experience, and maybe he had been in this journey of learning like longer than you. I don't know. I don't know the the person, but it sounds like this feeling of being not good enough and never fitting within those standards that you have raised for yourself. I think this is the thing that makes us lose focus. And even though we are like wasting energy and like being up all day and working late at night, trying to chase that goal because the target is wrong, we're never getting there. So in a way, it's right. You're never going to get there. But the challenge is a bit, it's distorted by comparison because, you have the wrong target.
Comparison is not bad all the time. I mean, compared to that guy, at that stage in my career and in my learning process of automation, I could have been, and I was, inspired by his skills.
Yeah.
That comparison up to that stage is okay. But I went ahead, and I spent, I don't actually know, but I just assume, I don't remember. And I wasn't that aware of my process at the time. But I spent a lot of time, I would guess about half of the time, putting myself down when I wasn't able to figure out something, instead of trying to figure out how to solve this.
Yeah.
Looking up solutions, trying various ideas. My learning process would have been definitely shorter if I would have spent in number of days. I mean, if I spent my effort in investigating new ways of how to approach, how to solve various problems, instead of spending half of it or even more on why am I not amazing when I just started doing automation for 3 months.
Yeah. It's you are at a different chapter of your automation journey. From my experience, the key to not let yourself be overwhelmed by those feelings of not being good enough or not being sure of your success is just or simply not giving up, which sounds easy, but it's not. Did you ever ask for that guy's, I don't know, suggestion in how to solve a situation, how to solve a problem in order to speed up that learning process?
I'm both a survivor and independent.
This means no.
Kidding aside, I never was the person who just reaches out for help when I face a problem. No, first I struggle. I just love the struggle, right?
There's a way of doing this. First you struggle and then you ask for help.
Exactly. My process is struggle first. I feel like I don't deserve the help if I don't struggle. I honestly enjoy the process of discovering things myself. I did ask for support. And every time I asked for support, the guy just knew the answer. That doesn't necessarily help the train of thought where it goes like this. I don't know. I'm asking for help. That guy knows. I'm stupid. I'm not good. I'm never going to get that. I will never know the answer. Of course, I won't know the answer if I continue just asking for the solution. And most people who are experienced in what they do, they give you the solution. I needed the process, but I didn't know to ask for the process. And of course, no one knows to tell you, look, this is my process. I struggled in the beginning. I went through hell doing that or the other. Because it seems like you are complaining a lot if you talk about your process. But if asked specifically, I think people would answer honestly to that question. But you need to ask that question. At the time, I didn't know about that. So yeah, asking for support when I had to solve something and I couldn't figure out a solution by myself, I asked for support. Now, I cheated a bit because I kept in touch with the person, and following him, I learned that he has his own process and not everything is that easy.
So he struggles also, only that it's less obvious.
It's not necessarily less obvious. It was less obvious for me because I didn't know what to look for when I didn't know about my process. Now it's easier. I know what I'm looking for. And in all fairness, when I'm doing something I already did a couple of times, and let's just take the example of automation. When I start working on a new product, it takes me less time to figure out what exactly are the product's challenges, where it makes sense to automate, where it doesn't make sense. And the process is way shorter in my mind because I've seen so many products now.
Yeah.
And when I face a challenge, and I still face challenges, otherwise it would be boring, I know what to look for.
You have a confidence of experience also. You don't go panicking that this is not gonna work and that you're not good enough because you already have previous experience. Okay, the path is there, the path to winning the case.
In my case, being so passionate about automation, I couldn't give up. Regardless of how difficult it was. It's just an example, and automation is an example I didn't give up on. I have a bunch of other examples where I did give up because I felt I would never be enough, and the struggle was more than my passion. About automation, I failed enough times to know what exactly won't work anymore and to look for solutions somewhere else. But what helps me is the fact that I failed enough times. I tried so many options that didn't work, and I know what might not work. When I'm learning something new, it's the same. I struggle. Of course, I struggle. Nothing makes sense because it's completely new. How did you feel when you started going to the gym?
Oh man, I postponed going to the gym so many times because I already knew that I was behind everyone. So I didn't even knew who was going at the gym, but I was already comparing myself and knew that I'm a failure. To be honest, I was intimidated. I thought that everyone knows what they're doing. They're like consistent, they know their stuff, they're making progress, they're eating clean, they know how to use the machine. And yeah, I compared myself a lot and I felt like I was not good enough. A lot. The process was slower, the process of me figuring out what to do and how to, find the routine, use the machine. But what you said makes sense in my case also. The fact that I just showed up and tried to ignore those who seem to be the gurus, the gym influencers, and just focus on me trying to do better day by day, trying to learn a new machine or like a new exercise routine day by day. And now the fact that it's not a strange area, it's not the fear of the unknown, it's not so big anymore. It doesn't scare me anymore. I don't feel the need to compare with those who have the beach body and the great results because I know they've been doing it longer and they have different metabolism. And now I know. I knew it before also. It's not that I didn't know the information mentally, but emotionally, my tendency to compare and to feel not good enough was stronger than my common sense of like, hello, you've just started it.
In my case, I gave up. I started going to the gym so many times and I stopped about as many times. I wasn't that passionate about gym as I was about automation. So it's one of the topics where I know I gave it up way too many times.
Yeah. We need to make a podcast about when it's okay to quit something and when you should keep on going and keep on trying.
That's a topic for another time indeed. The idea with competition is it's natural. It's a default setting. We all compare ourselves to others. And the next step usually is the competition. One of the results of being in a competition is putting yourself down, thinking you are not enough and you can never be as good as person X. That takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of energy, and it's the short path to giving up. Even sometimes, even when you are very passionate about something, you might still give it up, continuing on this path. I'm never gonna be as good as impressive as person X. So the whole point is it's okay to be overwhelmed. We all get there when we are trying to learn new things, like in my example with automation. Strange enough, I didn't give it up, but it was just one example when I didn't give it up. I think what was important in the experiences I had, and now I'm going to extend a bit the topic and add the experiences of other people, just to make this more powerful and not just share my own experience. I think it's important to go back to your original goal. In my example, my goal was to learn automation and to be able to solve problems. I wanted to be competitive in that domain. And I wanted for myself to be able to solve those puzzles fast and to be able to share my experience with others. That's what I gathered now. When I was doing that, I thought I wanted to be like that guy. But what exactly in that guy was what I wanted for myself? I wouldn't have known to narrow down my list of what automation and what exactly in automation makes any sense to me. I learned the KPIs basically from that person and translated them into facts. I don't want to solve problems like that guy. I want to solve problems like me.
Find your own way of doing things and
Exactly.
to develop professional as who you are, not as who he was.
Exactly. Every time it gets overwhelming, come back and see what is the list of things you want to achieve and start working again. I mean, resume working at that list.
Yeah. To remember why you started this in the beginning and what's your desired goal.
Exactly. For me, it helped understanding my process. As we joked before, I am independent and I like challenges. There is a bit of truth in that because I really like challenges. I don't like taking a solution for granted because it takes the fun out for me. For some other people, it might make sense to struggle less.
To find the easy way out.
Not necessarily easier, but you don't have to be stuck in the same problem for days. Your process doesn't mean you have to struggle for months to get something done. Figure out the point where you are actually stuck. When I'm stuck, I'm just recycling the same idea in different forms. That still won't work just because I'm stuck on that idea. That's when it might help bringing someone else to support you. Even running ideas by someone, it might help.
What takes us out of our spiraling thoughts and our comparison journey, it's simply the fact that we are bringing others into our process. Like you said, asking questions, not necessarily asking for help, just like a feedback, a brainstorm, someone who's a bit more lucid, and doesn't have this fear of not being good enough, someone who's like chill and outsider that can help you, give you the right advice or the right bump into the right direction. And like you said, to help you remember what are your goals, like leaving your emotions beside, it's leaving your who's better than who beside, and just focusing on the facts that you want to learn this, you want to do this, these are your objective. And I think sometimes having someone who thinks out of the box helps, and can be a good input.
I noticed that anyone who's not stuck in the same loop as you are is going to be thinking out of the box. It doesn't even matter if that person is stuck in their own process of not being good enough, but in a different process, not in the one you are currently working. I don't think you have to find overachievers everywhere. I try to explain to someone else the problem I'm facing. And in the process of explaining, because I care about them understanding, I don't jump some steps I would jump in my mind. And I get unstuck by explaining the process. Another thing I noticed it's important is to keep consistent. It is overwhelming. There might be better people than I am here, but I'm looking straight ahead. I don't want to see them.
Yeah, you focus on your own target and your own task for the day, like baby steps, regardless of how bad I'm doing on my map compared to others. At least for the day, just isolate whatever task you have to do it, and you do it tomorrow. At the end of the week or the month, you're slightly better and the pressure eases off. At least this is what happens to me. Even small signs of progress or of doing things easier will take the pressure up and just burst that bubble of overthinking and over comparing stuff in your head.
Yeah, and if it helps, I don't know. I don't look at people at the gym. I don't care how they look and how they behave. I'm still stuck with my workout here. And if it helps, I know automation. It's a mess if you apply automation to the gym, but still, I know it. I can feel good about myself. I know automation. If you really feel like you really, really need to compare yourself to others, just throw something funny in there. It will stop the train of thoughts. If you're overwhelmed because you are never enough, you can never be like that other person you are comparing to.
Exactly. But you're right. Sometimes a good joke can ease off the pressure.
So I think this is the idea of the podcast. It's okay to compare yourself to others. You will feel inspired by them. You will narrow down the list of things you want to achieve. But taken to extremes, competing to extremes, it's not necessarily helpful, especially in the scenario where you put yourself down. Too much time and energy wasted on that. And you might actually, more often than not, you will give up on your goals. You will not achieve them, and you will waste all the time and all the energy in putting yourself down. There is no win here.
That's a good point. Thank you, Sabina. I have a few mental notes on how to apply this in my life also.
I think they will hit home for most of us. I hope you enjoyed our podcast. If you have ideas, if you want to get in contact with us, you can definitely subscribe. You can message us here and like our videos or wherever you listen to the podcast. See you on the next one.
Bye-bye.